if you can become so good at something, at anything, the best podcaster, the best, you sew pillows, like the best, whatever, writer, the best, whatever it is, if you could become the best, then the world can't ignore you.
Welcome to Out of Office with Kim. I'm your host, Kimberley Cumberbatch, all the way from sunny Southeast London. And today we are joined by a real phenomenon. Oh, wow. You are a real relationship guru. You are a true celeb.
Oh, wow.
Introduce yourself.
I don't even consider myself any of those things, right? I was tying my son's tie a second ago to go to school, so I feel like I'm a father, a husband,
yes,
a brother, a son, a cousin, an uncle. That's how I see myself.
And then in the career sphere?
I call myself super Jamaican.
Super Jamaican.
Because I probably have 12 jobs, but I have like 4 main categories of career.
Give us the categories.
One is media.
Nice.
So I co-host actually 3 TV shows, 2 that are out, 1 that is coming next year.
Oh.
I just announced a podcast that I'm super proud of.
I did see that this morning.
Yes, called We Need to Talk. So we need to talk. I'm an author. My next book is coming out in February 2025.
Lovely.
Speaker, that kind of thing. That's media. And then secondly is I am an active investor. So I just became one of only 3 black co-owners of an English football team.
Amazing. Which one?
Yeah, so it's called Sutton United, South London.
You see?
South London.
It's always about the South.
It's all the ways about the South. And I'm really proud about that. So I'm a football club owner. Also, I just bought a therapy clinic in Maida Vale.
Gorgeous.
And so I'm very proud about that. We have 3 therapists in that clinic. So that's the third. And then the fourth is my work at Tinder. So I'm global relationship insights expert at Tinder, which allows me to get my nerd on.
Yeah.
So those are the big 4 categories of career.
I love that. We're going to start with a cheeky buzz question.
Okay.
I love a buzz question. I love to, get everyone thinking, right?
All right. I like this.
Your buzz question for you, right?
Okay.
If you could set up any 2 celebrities on a date, who would you pair and why?
Oh, man. So, this is the nerd in me. It's like, what is a celebrity?
Anything whatever you define, because I do think it's subjective.
Yes.
Anyone you define to be a celebrity will do.
All right. So I'm going to go back, and you're going to hate me for this, but this is because I'm so true to the craft.
Okay.
Is that I can't set anybody up that I don't know.
Okay.
So my wife and I, we had a matchmaking agency in the U.S. We grew it to become the largest matchmaking agency in the U.S.
Yep.
And we would spend the first 6 months with a client before we even match them.
Getting to know them.
So you have to fully understand who they are, what they value, etc. And so the celebrity, like, people are just giving us what they want us to see.
Yeah.
So I don't know these people.
So basically you need to really get to know someone.
Yes.
And you know what? That is the proper way to do it.
Thank you.
Maybe that's why setting people up is a dying art these days.
There you go.
Nobody wants to get to know anyone.
Nobody. Some of us do, but I hear you. I hear you.
All right, let's jump straight in.
Okay.
A question I like to always ask my guests is, what was your first job and what did it teach you? Very first ever.
Yeah, I know. I remember it like it was yesterday. So my first job is I was in New York. New York. And there was a construction site. They were building like a new apartment building, and me and my friends, we would sell cans of Coca-Cola to the construction workers.
Yep.
So that was my first thing, and I was probably like 10 at the time, 9, 10. And that really made me feel like, okay, this entrepreneurship thing I love.
Okay.
Because we were buying sodas from the corner shop for maybe 25 cents, and we were selling them for like 35 cents. And I was like, hold on, I can sell it for 40 cents. If it's really hot, I can sell it for 50 cents. I could take a swig real quick. And then, so it was one of those where I really loved the autonomy and the control that came with entrepreneurship.
So you learned that from the age of 10?
Yeah. I came out the gate.
And you've been working.
Oh, I've been out on these streets working. Like in high school, when you think back to high school, like when you think back to high school or senior school, right? What comes to mind?
Treacherous times, torture, solitude.
Okay. All right, fair. All right. Well, we all think about different things. You know what I think about? I think about the nerdiest thing in the world. I think about business plans.
Okay.
And the reason why is because what I would do on the weekends and at night, when I finished my homework or whatever, is I would write business plans.
Okay, you were serious.
I would write business plans. And also, I will say this, is that anyone who is striving to become an entrepreneur, I highly recommend writing business plans.
Nice.
Because it gives you the inner workings of a business. You understand financial tables. You understand market. So that's what I would do. So this has definitely been in my blood.
So talk to me about your career journey thus far. Where did it start? Not when you were 10, once you're an adult. Where did it start? How did we get to where we are now?
I mean, the big jumps were, so my first big thing was investment banking. So I went to business school, and a lot of people are like, what? I thought you were a matchmaker.
Yeah, I know.
But I had a whole career, before this. So I was an investment banker. And then from investment banking, what I did is I went and I worked for a very wealthy Turkish family.
Okay.
And that was, in essence, entrepreneurship, because I was managing their investments outside of Turkey, so mostly in the United States. That allowed me to actually collab and create businesses with them, one of which I co-founded that's still in existence today, called BAU University. It is the largest for-profit university in Washington, D.C. So I was able to do that, which was incredible. Then from there, that put me in, really that kind of moved me into the matchmaking space. But what happened is that I started looking at, so while I was working for the Turkish family, I was heavily involved with nonprofit, just like giving back to my community.
Yep, love that.
And I ran a program specifically for Black and brown kids living in Washington, D.C. And what we did is we would provide them test preparation for free.
Okay.
And the reason why is because the SAT was so significant in terms of what schools you can get into, what universities. So we would teach them maths and science and all that stuff. And one question that we had on the questionnaire was, well, how many parents live in the household? Not one of my kids had two parents.
Yep.
And what really tripped me out is I had friends that were working in, higher socioeconomic areas of the city. And in those programs, you'd have 50% of the kids had parents, or 80% of the kids had parents. And I saw how there was a significant impact on not having, not just parents, but even male representation in the household, because most of these kids just live with mom or auntie or grandma. And so that is what led me down this kind of curious trail of matchmaking.
Okay.
And that's what put me on the path. And then once I figured out, wow, you know what? I can actually help to create family structures that could help to change the world. And that's really where my love of matchmaking came. So then I, quit, pivoted into matchmaking. And then real quick on the television side is that then once we launched the matchmaking agency, I didn't know how to announce it. I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to market it.
Yep.
And I created a YouTube series called The Modern Day Matchmaker. And I say this as, it sounds like a joke, but it is true, is that we would put this YouTube video out, like a new series, every week.
Yep.
We get 11 views.
Yes.
Like 12 views. We get 9 views. And my mother was watching 7 times. My mother-in-law was watching twice.
Yeah, the family are getting the views up. Yep.
Yeah, and it turned out that Oprah Winfrey was one of the people who was watching. So as a result of her watching, she then offered me a job to co-host a television show with her. And that's really how my matchmaking career kind of blossomed, is because we had this agency. Then I had this partnership with Oprah, and that obviously helped the agency. And then that work actually helped my television work. Yep. And that was, oh my God, that was like 12 years ago.
Isn't that a great lesson for a lot of people? I do a lot of content creation in my time. It's taken me quite some time to work my way up. And one of the biggest lessons that I always took was, it's not how many people see it, it's who sees it. Absolutely. And your story basically speaks to that, because you had 11 views, but apparently one of them was Oprah.
Oh man, it is quality over quantity every day, all day. And it shows you how one person can change it. And I always say, like, would you rather have 100,000 people follow you, or would you just rather have Oprah follow you?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And when I say follow, I'm not just talking about a loose follow. I'm talking about someone who becomes what Kevin Kelly. I don't. You know about the super fan?
No.
Oh my! All right. So Kevin Kelly was editor at Wired, I believe.
Okay.
And he wrote an essay, in essence, called "The Superfan," and it's really about there are different levels of fandom.
Yes.
And the highest level that you really want to have in terms of being able to monetize your content, and this is for any content creator, a musician, YouTuber, whatever, is you want someone who is wanting and willing to devour everything. They're waiting for you to post.
Yes.
They're standing in line when you drop your new album.
Yeah.
Like they're the first to buy a ticket to your show. Ideally, you want to have more of them than anyone else.
This is very true.
And so what a lot of people get tripped up with in terms of content creation now is they're looking for just they're looking for the follow, the like, that translates into nothing in terms of your ability to impact the world or your ability to monetize.
So we look at numbers. Numbers is such a big thing these days in this industry, but as you're saying, it is about the people that believe in your story, who are actually rooting for you. Because a lot of people aren't, they're just watching, consuming things, but to have people who actually believe in your craft, that's important. Obviously, Oprah, in your sense. So what was the turning point where you realized that matchmaking was for you?
I mean, I knew it from day one. Really, it was before Oprah. I think Oprah endorsed me because I was so passionate about what I was doing.
And your passion is very, very evident. The way you speak about it, I know that you actually believe this to your core.
Yes.
And it's beautiful to listen to.
I believe this thing. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think because ultimately, what's more powerful than love?
Nothing. I was like, nothing. You're right. It's actually the foundation of everything, in my humble opinion.
It is. So not only am I with you, is it the foundation of everything, but when we go, that's all we think about. And not to go way left on this, but I think that a lot of people, when you talk about love, it always becomes jokey, but it's very serious.
Very.
And when I think about, so I've sat at the deathbed of two people, both of them had nothing to say about the jobs they had. Nothing to say about the person that cut them off when they were driving, nothing to say about none of that. All they wanted to talk about were the people they loved.
This is very true.
And the people who loved them. That's it. So at the end of it, if you think about that, if that is what we're thinking about when we walk out, when we check out, and that's all we're thinking about when we check in, because you look at children, you look at babies and how they attach. And in essence, what they're seeking for is they're seeking for the most secure love possible.
Yes.
That's all they're looking for. So these are the two fundamentals to us being human beings. And so, yes, it's incredibly important.
But I don't think people realize the importance of it, especially because in my generation, it's very fleeting. But we will loop back around to that a little bit later.
All right.
But cool. So from the beginning, you just knew matchmaking was for you. Were there what are the barriers? Because I feel like it can't have been easy. Come on, you make it look very easy. I'll say that.
No. It's a super hard, career. I think from a professional standpoint, I didn't have a psychology degree going into it. I wasn't a psychiatrist. And so I think there was that knowledge base that I felt like I was missing. There's that. I think also, being a black male, I was so there's a institute, the largest professional body within the matchmaking space is called Global Love Institute now. It used to be called the Professional Matchmaking Institute.
Okay.
And they were like, hey, Paul, you are the first on record. You're the first full-time black male matchmaker.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, this is incredible. And just being just being the only of you in a space can become incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't need to tell you. You know what I mean? And,
of course.
And so that presents its own challenges. And then also the fact that if you're trying to do something, so one of my million jobs that I had back in the day is I was as a part-timer, I was a writer for USA Today. And I had a column called Uncommon Drive.
Oh, tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. Where I interviewed people who had uncommon drive. So people who
Interesting.
I consider to be the most exceptional world-class people in the world.
Okay.
So I interviewed like Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
At that time I had interviewed more billionaires than any other journalist.
You've been doing things.
Oh yeah, I've been
around.
out. I've been around. I've been around. And the interesting thing in that whole kind of interviewing all those folks was that they all wanted to achieve something that no one else had. But it wasn't until I interviewed Kasim Dean. You know who Kasim Dean is?
Tell me.
Swizz Beatz.
I feel a bit embarrassed. to know his real name. I know exactly who that is well. Tell me,
So he said something. I interviewed him twice, and he said something that has always stayed with me, and that is, I was like, you could do anything you want out here. Like now you could do anything. You and Alicia, you could do anything.
They couldn't do anything.
How do you decide what project to take? And he said, I only choose projects where I feel like I could create history.
Interesting.
On the project. That's my litmus test to see if I, and so I thought about that. I said, wow, you know what? All of these folks on Uncommon Drive, everyone that I know to this day who I consider to be exceptional, world-class, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do something historic.
Yes.
And if you're trying to do that, that is always going to present challenges.
Of course.
So, yeah, so I see there's lots and lots of
mountains of pressure, it basically seems. But since you started your matchmaking life, did you see it going to where it's gone? You are obviously a media personality, author. You actually named about 72 jobs earlier. So, did you envision that? Like, where did you, when you first sat down and was like, I'm going to make that pivot from banking over, what did you think? Did you see it going to where it's gone?
No.
What was the plan? Because you did say you're a business planner.
Yeah, I'm a business planner, but I will say I've also kind of shifted my philosophy on life.
Okay.
So early on in my career, and this is before matchmaking, this is investment banking. My objective was I want as much money as possible.
Okay.
That was it. I didn't care about anything
else. Okay, that's
I was
fair.
like, that new BMW, I want that.
You need that.
That new Rolex, I want that.
Aesthetics.
Exactly. I wanted all of those things. And what I realized is I had low self-esteem.
Interesting. The correlation. Yeah, okay. I see it.
Yes, because at the end of the day, what low self-esteem is that you are seeking external validation.
This is very true.
And the reason why I wanted to whip around in that BMW was not the performance of the BMW. I want everybody to be like, look at Paul in the BMW. So I realized that was an issue I had. So I wanted as much money as possible, basically so I could flex on a whole bunch of folks.
Yep.
Then lots of things happened in my life. And I moved to a place where I want to have as much impact as possible. And there was a book that I read that changed my life. It's called So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. He was a professor actually at my business school. Okay. And in the book, he basically says, look, if you can become so good at something, at anything, the best podcaster, the best, you sew pillows, like the best, whatever, writer, the best, whatever it is, if you could become the best, and he's saying like really like the top 1%, then the world can't ignore you. And you will make more impact, you'll have more autonomy on your time, and you'll make more money than anything else you could do. So instead of chasing the money or the autonomy or the impact, instead, chase the skills required to become world-class.
And what skills were those?
And so for me, it was the research.
Yes.
Right? It was the oratory to be able to create a narrative, a compelling narrative.
Absolutely. That
was part of it. Part of it also was the organization and the ability to run an operation, which a lot of matchmakers do fall down on, But there were these fundamental skills, some soft skills, some hard skills. And I became fixated on those skills. And what I've noticed is that those skills have helped me level up in so many other areas. So like the ability to, be a better orator or a better communicator has helped me on television. It's helped me on the podcast.
Yep. It's
helped me on stage when I'm doing whatever, So that skill that I focused on becoming better at, becoming world-class at, has helped me in all of these other areas. So that's really the key. The key is focus on the skills, that are required. And I'll even take it a step further is Oprah said something that changed my life as well. And that was that so many of us, like we all have things that we're good at, things that we're mediocre at, and things that we're bad at. And what society and even a lot of schools tell us is, well, focus on the things that you're bad at and you're mediocre at and do what? Make them better.
Yes.
Oprah was like, forget all that. She said, outsource all that stuff.
It's very true.
Focus on what you are good at, because what you are good at, you could become great at those. And those things that you are great at, that whatever that small suite of skills are, that is what's going to allow you to change the world. Like, because you are exceptional at that. So that became my kind of like mode of operation.
I think that's such a great thing to think about as well, because when you grow up in school, right, you should be good at maths, English, you know, the basic stuff. Yes. I went to performing arts school. I was drama. I
see that. Yeah. I see, because you got the hands real wide.
Yeah, I'm a gesticulator to the maximum. I was drama, always class clown, making people laugh, right? And in school, no one cared about that. It was very much like focus on your books. As I got a bit older, I thought, you know what? I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy being on the stage. So when I got to a bit older and I sat down and thought, you know what, Kim, like, the creative way for me is a bit better, then I realized I'm actually following my passion instead of focusing on, and don't get me wrong, the books and stuff is good, you know, get your ABCs down. But there are other skills I just think we're just not there yet in terms of helping children, specifically young people, express themselves. Obviously, if you're lucky like me, I went to performing arts school, so you know, everyone was kind of, everyone is like a drama kid. But for other kids, it's so difficult to jump outside of that lane. So I think it's really important to let people understand that, focus on what you are good at, because not everybody is good at the ABCs. Me, I can barely spell.
Yeah,
but I'm here.
And you got your spell check.
Exactly.
Who needs to spell with spell check? You know what I mean?
Who?
Yeah.
So let's bring into the modern day of dating, right?
Okay.
I've got a key thing I want to really bring up with you.
Okay.
My generation.
Okay.
Flawed, shall we say.
All right, what generation is this?
I'm 28, to be precise. So whatever.
All right, so you are at the end of the beginning of millennial, or the end of millennial, the beginning of Gen Z.
Yes. So we have created a phenomenon, which we call situationships.
Yes.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, so how do you define it? Everyone defines it a little bit differently.
The way I define it is people not wanting to commit and wanting to experience as much people in the short space of time. And to me, I think situationships are a bit dangerous, because you enter with this you still act like you're in a relationship, right? You're going on dates, you're even meeting the family, you're going on holiday, you're doing everything you would do in a committed situation.
Yes.
But the commitment is not there. Yes. And we're not labeling it as this is an open relationship. We're labeling it as actually absolutely nothing. And there are no rules, there are no parameters.
Yes.
And my heart's broken. Yes. So that's how I would label. How would you define it?
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, we can all define it differently. How about, let's just work off of your definition. Yeah, okay. How about that? Is that I think it's always important to understand the drivers behind the thing, right? So the reason why I believe we have a significant number of situationships is fear.
Yes.
Now, where does the fear come from? A lot of that fear comes from those in your generation seeing your parents not make it the way that you wanted to see them make it.
Not happy sometimes.
Not
for
happy.
A long time.
You know what? Not only is it not just the, say, Gen X or baby boomer generation that's not happy, there's a researcher, Eli Finkel, out of New York, and he's done some great research. New York. Yep. New York is just phenomenal, right?
Everything is at the center of New York.
It is. New York or London. It's like one of the... Oh, yeah. Okay.
You get it.
All right. So, but his research showed that right now, currently, 80% of those in married couples are not satisfied. 80%.
Yeah, that's a high figure.
Whereas 20% are more satisfied than ever before. So you have to look at that and say, okay, well, most of us are not satisfied. So if you grew up in a household looking at your parents saying, okay, they're not satisfied, they're arguing all the time, they divorced, they broke up, whatever it may be, are you going to be now hesitant to enter the same type of relationship that they had? Absolutely.
Yes.
Or the structure of that relationship? Absolutely. So this is one of the key drivers behind it. So I think that we have to understand the why.
Okay.
And then when you understand the why, you can then focus on the why. Focus on, okay, is it that you just enter situationships, or is it that you have a fear of the commitment, or you have non-belief in love, or whatever it may be? So that's always the key. The key is always to take a step back and look at what is driving the behavior. And that's in all areas of relationships.
But how do we fix this?
Well, so I would say, to opposed to looking at it like fix, is how do we heal it?
Heal. I like that. Do you know what? I like that approach.
Yes.
That's way better. Heal. How do we heal the nation? Because we need healing.
and because it doesn't mean that we'll reach a point that it is quote unquote right, but the healing. And by the way, that's what I consider therapy to be. Therapy is healing, and I want to say that I'm a massive advocate for therapy. I own a therapy clinic.
I think it's amazing. I think more people could benefit from it.
Yes,
but I do think the approach to going to therapy is changing by generation. Definitely, like my generation, we're pretty open with it. Everybody talks about it. My parents' generation, that's not really, and I'm Jamaican, as we spoke about before, it's not really a thing.
Right.
Not yet.
Right.
It's kind of like you've got problems you work through at home.
Yes.
You don't speak to someone else about your business and all that kind of stuff. But I think the beauty of speaking with someone, a professional, invaluable. And that's why I love my therapist.
Yes. But then at the same time, therapy is not accessible to everyone.
This is very true as well.
For a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
So, but does that mean that you still can't heal? No, you can still heal. How can you heal? You can heal by watching these podcasts.
Yes.
And maybe you watch it with a friend or with your romantic partner, and then you talk about these things, right? You read a book together, you talk about those things. That can still put you on the pathway to healing. So healing can still come, through those means. I think that's very important. But ultimately, too, is one thing that's also interesting to connect it even back to situationships is that, and this is some research that I've done with Tinder, is that what Gen Z and millennials, but namely Gen Z is looking for, and this is to your point of wanting or being open to therapy, is authenticity.
Absolutely.
And this is something that I'll say in all of the research I've done. So there was a report that we did last year called the Future of Dating Report.
Interesting. Tell me.
Oh, yeah. And I would encourage everyone to read it.
Yes.
Because one is, we did spend a lot of time. I spent a lot of time on it.
Yes.
But what I loved mostly was the research behind it and these epiphanies that came. One of the biggest epiphanies was around the authenticity that Gen Z want in their relationship. And it was proven out by, and this is a mind-blowing fact, is millennials, Gen X, baby boomers. So basically everyone older Gen Z, when you go on a date, what is the number one way to determine that you want a second date?
Ooh.
It is physical attraction.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. See, you're like,
yeah, I was thinking deep.
Oh, no.
I was thinking deep.
No, but see, this is why I know you are in the younger generation.
I was thinking deeply.
Because Gen Z, number one is no longer physical attraction.
No.
Number one is, do I feel like I could be my authentic self?
And are you a good person is my number one. Are you a genuine, good, nice human being? Because apparently a lot of people aren't. That's what I've learned.
Well, all right. Can I push back on that?
Go on then.
All right. So I'm a believer in people.
Good. Okay.
And all right, another book. David Buss has written a book on bad boys.
Tell me.
But he you're like, tell me about this.
Tell me about bad boys.
But also he talks about bad girls in the book too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know what that means.
But in essence, there's what's called the dark tetrad.
Ooh.
These are bad people. Psychopaths, narcissists, sadists, Machiavellian, right? People who are trying to manipulate you, right? Now, what percentage of the population do you think fit that dark tetrad?
I'm going to guess a serious, normal answer, 4%.
All right. See, I like that. See, you're serious.
I'm being realistic, yeah.
Realistic.
My true answer would be a lot higher, but 4%.
All right. So now the actual answer is a little bit higher than that.
Oh.
But the actual answer ranges 10, 12%. But what does that mean? That means that the majority of people are not in that category. The majority of people, I believe, are good people, but sometimes with bad behavior.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I do agree with that. Okay.
And sometimes they don't realize that they actually have bad behavior, because our behavior is mostly learned.
This is true.
And a lot of us are coming from households where we didn't have a great relationship with our parents. That's why attachment style is so important, right? Attachment style is one of the most talked about concepts right now.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It's almost like a buzz situation. Everyone's talking about their attachment style. I'm not sure if everyone has a full understanding of it.
Of it. Well, and can I say this, is that I love that we're talking about attachment styles over, say, love languages.
Yeah. I also don't, can I say something?
Please.
I don't agree with the love language situation. Let me tell you why.
Can I just, let me clap you into that. I just don't believe in it.
I just think when you love someone, truly love someone, not this little stupid stuff that my people be doing, true love,
yes.
You want to explore all of the love languages.
If I could stand up, I would. But I'm trapped in here.
We're locked in.
I'm locked in.
I'm imagining you standing ovation, don't worry.
Yes.
I don't believe in the whole love language situation, but the attachment style, I think even if you don't have a true understanding of what it truly means, I do think having the conversation, people touching the attachment style conversation, I think it's a forward direction basically for us, I think.
It is. So, and this is not to shade Gary Chapman, who wrote 5 Love Languages. Yep. You know, it has been a book that has helped a lot of people. It's helped, me in my marriage. But to your point is that we want all of them. Who doesn't want a gift?
I want it all.
Who doesn't want words of affirmation?
Everybody.
Who doesn't want physical touch? It's like
everybody. Then you have to start thinking, how do you rank these? And love me in my entirety.
Yes.
Do it all.
And then on top of it, the data, like there's no real quantitative or should I say any full research on the love languages.
Interesting.
But what we've done as a society is we've just picked it up and we've run with it. So even on TV, it's great. We just finished Married at First Sight.
Yep.
Last year. we're already starting 2025. Ooh. But this one hasn't started airing yet, or maybe it has aired.
Yeah.
But it's on air right now.
It's all good.
But this one that's on air right now. What I found to be funny is they would sit down and they would meet their partner and they say, what's your love language? I was like, how's that going to tell you anything
about anyone, by the way, of substance?
It's
nothing.
Like his physical love language, his love language is touch. He's a pervert. Like, no, it's like, it's everybody
wants to touch somebody. Why are you together?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I applaud you. Thank you for saying that. But should we talk about attachment?
Yeah, we should.
Absolutely. That has a massive impact on how we show up and why we show up. But my whole point to that, though, is that it shapes our behavior.
Absolutely.
So if you came from, imagine, we'll just explore one of them, is one right now of one of the more prevalent is what's called an anxious attachment style.
Yes. Oh, I know of that one. Well.
All right. Now, anxious is something that a lot of us have experience with, because a lot of us, especially if you are from a home where your parents were immigrants, right, where they were working their ass off.
Yes.
Multiple jobs. That's what my parents were doing. Multiple jobs. Yep. So what did that mean? That mean that they weren't in the household with me all day long because they're outside working.
Of course.
And so what that meant is that sometimes they were there. And I got all that love. Sometimes they weren't.
Yeah, of course.
And as a result of that hot, cold, that on, off, I became slightly anxious.
Yes.
And a lot of us become that way. And then that shapes my behavior. So therefore, when I become an adult and I'm starting to love, I'm not thinking, I'm always asking, do you really love me? Are you sure?
Yeah, of course. Let
me text you. Are you like, and so it informs a behavior that is not the most conducive.
This is very true.
Does that make me a bad person?
No. Not if you're going to work on it.
Yes.
Then it's fine.
Yeah. But even if I don't realize it, does that make me a bad person?
No, of course not.
Good person, bad behavior. And so that's why I say, it's like most of us are good out here.
Okay. Do you know what? I'm going to change my opinion, my mindset, because when you speak with someone, you listen and you learn. So I'm going to take that and think about it. Another phenomenon I want to talk about with you.
Okay.
Spinning the block.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to use this time to get some own personal advice.
Okay.
Because how many times am I going to be sitting across from you?
Okay.
Maybe many times, who knows?
Yes.
But I want to get a little bit of advice. Obviously, spinning the block, right? Negatives, positives, blah, blah, blah. Hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically.
If someone was, with a partner in their young 20s, didn't know who they were. Healthy relationship, split up because early 20s, you don't know what's going on. You're at uni or whatever you're doing. Late 20s, you rekindle. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think about that, spinning the block? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's good? Do you have to do a lot of work to get it going? Because I feel like spinning the block has really bad PR. I'm going to be honest with you. It's got terrible PR. It's like if you broke up with someone, leave them in the past. What do you think about growth in between?
So there's research around this.
Tell me. I knew you'd give it to me. I knew it.
I'm telling you, I'm the super nerd. So I got it. So here's what the research shows is that if you are in a partnership, no matter what age, and you break up for whatever reason, it could be infidelity, for whatever reason, and both partners have committed to healing and committed to growth.
Yep.
And then they rekindle at whatever point in the future, chances are that their relationship becomes stronger.
Don't say that
and
to me.
they become more satisfied in their relationship.
Wow.
And it makes sense because they've both committed to healing. They both commit, and ultimately, what does that mean? That means that they begin to understand why they show up the way they show up.
This is very true.
And they change why and how they're showing up. So that means that things will get better. And this is also why, when you look at infidelity, because a lot of people believe that if there's infidelity in a relationship, and there's various forms of infidelity. It's emotional, but I'm talking about physical infidelity, that you can never have a relationship with that person. And I'll say it's absolutely incredibly challenging, but you can.
It's not impossible.
It's not. But what's the key ingredient? Commitment to change, to change behavior. And you said this earlier, and I loved it. You kind of alluded to this. You were like, well, if that person wants to change.
Yes.
To me, that's the line. That's how you know to stay in a relationship or walk away.
If the person is willing, and also to do the work, but also together. So do you think, hypothetically, I need to do a lot of work? Is that what you're saying to me? Because I'm a chill person. I'm a go with the flow kind of gal. But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, especially with love, and in all forms, familial love particularly, you do have to pour into them. Because as you get older, especially with friends as well, it's not the same. You don't go to school every day and you see them every day. You have to put a lot of work in. So have I got a lot of work ahead of me, hypothetically speaking?
Well, hypothetically speaking, the one thing that you said that I'm a little worried about.
What is it?
Is you said, I'm a chill person.
I am.
I go with the flow.
I do.
A lot of the chill go with the flow means that you don't know how to create boundaries and hold on to your boundaries.
Wow.
And the people who have the highest quality of life have the highest boundaries.
Boundaries. Right.
And what I find is there's so many people who are super chill, so nice.
That's me.
That they don't provide any boundaries in their relationship.
Okay.
And they turn well-intentioned people into bullies.
Oh, that actually turned quite quickly, that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to look at my boundaries.
And so boundaries, quite honestly, are one of the most important things that you can create in a relationship. It should be based on your values. And it takes a whole lot of self-love, self-esteem, self-acceptance to hold on to a boundary. But when you do, life becomes infinitely better.
Okay, well, I know what my therapy topic is this week. Boundaries. Let's get into your TV career, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about Celebs Go Dating and MAFS. When you first got the call up for MAFS, what were your initial thoughts?
So I was on the series of MAFS before MAFS.
Yeah.
It was MAFS.
Yeah.
I was on MAFS.
Yeah, okay. Baby MAFS.
Yeah, I was on Baby MAFS. And it was on Channel 4, it wasn't on E4. It was, I had different co-hosts. And it was, in my opinion, it was an incredible project. And do you know that series of MAFS that I did, it remains the most successful relationship series in the world that's ever been recorded.
And why is that?
We had 4 couples. 3 of them are married.
To this day?
To this day, 5 years later, actually married. Because on MAFS, you don't get married.
Yeah, I learned that later on. Yeah, but yeah.
So they then left the show. They then got married. All 3 have children.
True love.
5 years later, married, children, 75. Like, where do you see that?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Not in the reality TV worldscape, because it's all drama, which I'm here for. by the way. Just going to throw it out there.
But can I say, that's the reason why it was MAFS and not
MAFS.
MAFS.
Because it's missing the drama, the chaos, which I do love. So, do you know what? I'm going to be honest. I feel bad because I want to see the drama couples more than the true love couples. I'm going to be honest because I love true love. I do love it. But the drama is why we watch reality TV. Let's be truthful about it. So how do you manage couples or people, contestants that come on who are there for, let's say, the wrong reasons, fame, or maybe they're actually just not ready? How do you manage that?
So I think there's different categories. There are people who just want fame. They're just fame thirsty, hungry, starving, right?
Yes.
And they don't care about anything else. And then there are people who would love to have the fame. They'd love it. Oh, would you like an extra 100,000 followers?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Does that mean that I can make an extra 50,000 pounds a year? Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Would I like that? Yeah. Would I also like love? Sure. And what we have done, I think, on this project is we have been able to find people who fit that latter category that I say. Now, in this current series, we have, I think, more than ever that kind of don't care about the fame at all.
Oh my God, this is going to be great. This is amazing then.
And it does create a lot more drama. A lot more drama. It does. Because think about this. If you have, and this is what I truly learned on this series, is if you have someone who could care less about social. There's some folks on this one that don't even have any social.
They're actually the real people who know what's going on because they've got it right.
Yeah, like they've none. So all they care about is the partnership. How they are emotionally intertwined into everything that their partner is doing. Because they're like, you are everything to me. You know what I mean? So it takes the emotion to another level.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the better, because I think when you have people who obviously, as we said, starving for the fame, I do think, do they create drama intentionally in your experience? Do you think, like, is it authentic, the drama?
Yeah. So what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by the creation? Because, and this is what I say. What do you mean by that? One is I've been in reality TV for like 12 years, I think. I have seen this thing change like night and day. I think that we have reached a point in reality TV where casting is incredibly hard. It's harder than ever before.
Really? Why do you think that?
It's because of the money. And actually it's because of the fact that the gatekeepers are now gone and social media is here. So 12 years ago, my first project was with Oprah. It was called Lovetown. At this time, do you know that on that project, Oprah signed up for Instagram? So literally, I was there the day that she sent her first post on Instagram. So think about that. Nobody had Instagram then.
No.
Nobody was live tweeting a show or a live, whatever you call it now, X or whatever.
Xing it.
Xing it. Yeah, Xing it. Like none of that. So you went on a project not thinking that there would be anything else that came with it. And then every year thereafter, social media platforms grew, the popularity grew, the viewership grew, and then also the followship of these contributors grew. So you reach a point now, and I track this. I look at people who go on to Love Island or Married at First Sight or whatever, and you see how their following jumps. And in essence, do I think a lot of them or most of them want to see a boost in that? Absolutely. Because what does that mean? Think about that. If you hit 100,000 followers on Instagram, you could, in essence, quit your job and monetize that. And I think
if you know what to do with it.
If you know what to do. But a lot of them get caught up in the, also too is, there's a whole dark side that we could talk about too, is there's agents that come out the woodwork.
Yes.
And they are like, look, you're on this hot show. You got 100,000 followers. Yeah. You don't need that job.
Yeah.
I will get you and then inevitably, what happens? 1 year goes by. Then the next cast comes in. You're no longer invited to the parties. Sponsorship deals don't want you. And then what do?
Go back to work.
Or what I've noticed is then the content becomes even more salacious.
Okay, yes.
Because you're trying to do everything you can, and then you either go back to work, whatever. But it's a whole tornado. But long story short is we as a society, we are creating this.
This is very true. Have you had any fave couples thus far?
Nah.
No. Oh, come on. None.
Nah.
No fave couples.
You know what? I've done something in this last 2 years, and I think people who have watched me closely, they've seen this. And this is no disrespect to anybody on Celeb Go Dating. This is no disrespect to anybody on Married at First Sight. But I don't show up for friends.
Okay.
I used to show up to these projects like, oh, it'd be cool to be your friend after this. Like, it'd be cool.
You're done with that.
Nah.
Business.
I don't need any more friends. Now, would I like to have you as a friend? Yeah. That would be great. But I'm not here to try to become your friend.
Yes, of course.
And when I walked in with that mentality, my perspective, my ability to help them is now changed because now I'm unbiased. So what's happened is that I tell a lot of people things that they have never been told before. And I think part of my ability to do that is because I don't need to be their friend.
Yes.
I
like this.
After the show.
And but also you do still approach contestants with such care. I was watching a clip of you speaking with Ella from Celeb Go Dating, who obviously was on MAFS. And the way you spoke was so gentle. I could have assumed you were friends. Your approach was so gentle and so caring. How do you manage that for everyone? Even when someone has done something questionable, you still speak with them with such care. How do you manage that? Yeah.
Well, Ella is my friend. Though.
There we go. You see?
But I'm saying, but that's not why I did that. But I just want to, clarify that I still have friends as a result, but I don't walk in seeking it. Now, I love people. I think most people are good. Yes. I think most of us are good with bad behavior. I think most of us innately are kind, and so that's how I see everyone. I give everyone a blank slate at first. It's like, I'm cool with everyone. Everyone, I'm cool. The issue is when that line is crossed, when the boundaries are crossed, then I'm uncool for the rest of our lives person.
Okay.
Done. Yeah.
I'll remember that.
Yeah. I'm like, we're cool.
Until we're not.
And then we're just not. But also the reason why I do that is because I think that we don't safeguard our space enough in life.
Very true.
And we have to realize that it is the people that we allow in that shapes our life. So those boundaries.
Stop reminding me. I'm going to work on it.
A lot of people, Jim Rohn will say, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. I fully believe that. We are our community, and we have to safeguard our community. And we want to be around people who love us and we love them, not someone who wants to be cool with you because you got a hot podcast. It's
It's true though. No, you're right.
Yeah.
100%.
So those boundaries are important.
Lovely. So you've given me something. Now I want you to give something back. Okay. What can the people see from you? What's coming? What's happening with you?
Oh man, new or like?
Yeah. Give it all.
Oh man. I mean, a lot of the media stuff, a lot of so the celebs, the Married at First Sight. I just filmed a massive show that has not been announced yet.
Okay,
that is
secret.
That's coming in 2025. That I'm super excited about.
Can you give us any?
I can't. They will. A helicopter will fly down. The ceiling will pop open.
Thing up. Yeah, all right.
And blow us up. But it's big. It's
2025.
Big. 2025. That show's coming. The podcast is something that I'm incredibly proud of.
Remind us of the name.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
It is provocative conversations around relationships. So that's something that I'm super, super hype about. The football team, obviously. Yep. This is something that I've never thought I would do. And so I'm very excited about that. The therapy clinic, I'm super excited about that. Jamaica, this is probably the biggest thing that I haven't talked about. So this is something new.
Okay.
So I'm acquiring land in Jamaica.
Gorgeous.
And there's a lot that I'm doing on that land, from farming to retreat, to even looking at Rastafarianism and how it's, I think it is a beautiful culture that's disappearing, that we can learn so much from, and it needs to be preserved. And so there's some work that I'm doing around that. So, you know, and the reason why I say that, and just to bring everybody back to is something that really annoys me, is when we go out to places like Jamaica and we land in the all-inclusive hotel and we sip the pina coladas and we're at that hotel where people are paid below minimum wage.
Absolutely.
And we never leave the hotel. We come back and we say, we love Jamaica.
Loved Jamaica. Full experience.
Full experience. Whereas 90+% of those hotels around the coast are not even owned by Jamaicans.
Exactly.
You're doing very little for Jamaica or for Costa Rica or for Bermuda or for Barbados, wherever you go. So it's very important for us to get out and experience the culture. And the people want that, you know, and the culture's so rich. So that's part of why I'm doing that, so that when people are at that all-inclusive, they can come out and check out, you know, what real Jamaica
What's really
looks
happening.
like.
Gorgeous. Well, thank you for being an amazing guest.
Thank you.
Let's say goodbye to our audience. Been Out of Office with Kim. I'm Kim. Paul, say his goodbyes.
I am sitting next to Kim. Can I tell you how fabulous Kim is?
Don't. My mom's
Yes.
going to cry when she sees this.
Yes.
Bye.